Hello, and welcome to another edition of Cubs on Tap. It's another solo show, and yes, normally I'm in a more amped up mood on Sundays than I normally. I'm usually in a more amped up mood than I am right now. I'll just go ahead and say it. Normally, I'm just like, "Hello and welcome," blah 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 blah, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna throw it out there right now. We're gonna right off the top of the bat of the top of the episode. I'm not in a good mood. I'm not. Cubs swept in Cincy, 4-game series. We'll get to it, but yeah, I hope everybody's is having a good weekend or has had a good weekend. This was supposed to be a Sunday for me. Just a quick note, real quick. This was supposed to be one of those Sundays. I I seasoned a bunch of beef, which, by the way, if you've never smoked beef ribs, do it. Do yourself a favor and do it. This was supposed to be one of those Sundays where I smoke a beef rib, drink a couple of beers, listen to Pat Hughes because I can't watch the game where I live at in Kentucky on MLB TV because it's blacked out. So that already puts me in a pissed off mood. But don't get me wrong, most of the time this year, I've been at least listening to the Pat Hughes broadcast on MLB TV, so it's really not that bad. But so yeah, there's that, and they get swept in Cincy this weekend. So yeah, just not a good weekend, not a good series. But again, hopefully everybody's had a great weekend, minus the fact that this team, once again, I'll say it, got swept in Cincinnati, 4 games, not 3 games, 4 games, got swept 4 games. And so here we are. Hey, at least the Bears won tonight or this afternoon. So there's that. So, anyways, again, Cubs swept in Cincinnati, 4 games. Daniel, happy Sunday, man. Hope you're having a good weekend. Again, minus the series, but let's get to it. Thursday night, Cubs lose 1-0. Hunter Green probably pitched the game of his career so far. One hitter against the Cubs. Yay, Seiya Suzuki got a hit. Congratulations. That was it. Nobody cares. I get it. I get it. The day before you clinch the playoffs, you go out, you have a late night, blah, 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 and you're hung over the next day. I get that. But you lose 1-0 again. One hit. Positive, positive side of this. Positive. The only positive thing about this game, Colin Ray arguably pitched. No, there's no argument about it. Colin Ray pitched the best game of his season, maybe even of his career so far. 7 innings, 0 walks, 1 earned run, and 11 strikeouts. 11 strikeouts. So that was nice to see. Other than that, though, that game just bleh. And I get it. Again, you're probably still hungover from the night before. You probably stayed out too late, doing whatever it was you did, partying. Yay, we made the playoffs. Cool. Awesome. Um, and on Thursday, we back it up to Thursday morning. I'm probably not even worried. Most people probably wasn't even expecting to win on Thursday because of the celebration of Wednesday. I get that. It's just now that look, it's Sunday now, and we're looking back on it, and yeah, it sucks. You crush Paul Skeens a few days before. You get one hit by Hunter Green. Again, probably still hungover, but anyways, positive on Thursday. Colin Ray, 11 strikeouts, 7 innings pitched in his best game of the season so far. I know he had a pretty good game earlier this season. I believe it was on the Sunday night ESPN against LA, maybe. Pitched great. But Thursday night, best outing of the season so far. If we can get that Colin Ray for the however long this season goes, I'm talking about the playoffs too. Awesome. Honestly, we're going to need that Colin Ray. We are. We're going to need that version of Colin Ray come next weekend. Friday, Cubs lose again, 7-4. Shodi Managa, not his best at all. 5 innings pitched. He only gave up 4 hits, but here's the thing. 3 of them were home runs. We've talked about it all season long. He gives up fly balls. He gives up home runs. And I get it. You're playing in a launching pad that is Great American Ballpark, but you give up 3 home runs. Bad things happen. You're not going to win many games giving up 3 home runs as your starter. He had 4 strikeouts. Porter Hodge comes in after that, gives up 3 hits in 1 inning. 2 of them were home runs. Side note, he was optioned to AAA, I want to say the next day for Jordan Wicks. So probably not going to see Porter Hodge the rest of the season. Maybe. Does he make the playoff roster? I don't know. I mean, there's not many. When you look at the list of bullpen options, there's not a whole lot to choose from. So I don't know. We'll get to that later. Dansby Swanson, Matthew Shaw both had home runs. That was nice. I want to say Matthew Shaw also had a double. Is Dansby Swanson having one of his best seasons this year? You could argue that. I wouldn't say it's his best season, but I will say this. I think he's having the best season with the Cubs. He's having the best season of his career so far with the Cubs. I'll say that. Dansby Swanson is having the best season of his career so far with the Cubs. I will say that. But at the end of the day, on Friday night, the Cubs pitchers gave up 5 home runs. You gave up 5 home runs. You give up 5 home runs, you're not going to win many games. You give up 5 home runs in the playoffs and just tuck it in and get out of there because it's over. 5 home runs, I don't care what your offense does. 5 home runs, you're not winning many games. Common sense. Everybody knows it. So yeah, Friday sucked. Friday absolutely sucked. And again, I wouldn't say Shota was awful because he only gave up 4 hits, but he gave up 3 home runs. And I want to say the start before, he's had several starts in this second half of in the second half of this season. He's had several starts where he's given up a lot of home runs, or he's had starts where he's had outings where early in the outing he's given up several runs, and you don't like to see that, especially this close to the playoffs. You've got to be. It's crunch time for Shota, and I get it. Overall, he's had a good season, but at this point in the season, we can't be doing that. You cannot be doing that and expect to win games in October. It can't happen. So anyways, Cubs pitchers give up 5 home runs on Friday. Lose 7-4. Not surprising. As far as the loss, that's not surprising. Guess what? Saturday, same story. Cubs lose 6-3. Every single pitcher that pitched on Saturday gave up at least 1 run. I'll go back to the comment I just made about Friday. You give up a lot of runs like that, chances are you're not going to win many games. And I get it. You're coming off your playoff clinching celebration that was on Wednesday night. And I get it. Thursday, you're probably hungover. But Friday, Saturday, we've got to figure it out. We've got to figure that out. Every pitcher, I'll say it again, every pitcher who appeared in that game for the Cubs on Saturday gave up a run. Javier Assad, 4 innings, 2 strikeouts. I believe he gave up 2 runs. Michael Busch hit his 30th home run. That was great, which, by the way, you love to see it. Buy a damn Michael Busch bomb t-shirt if you haven't already. Cheap plug, I know. Go to our On Tap store. Go to Cubs On Tap Sportsnet. Go to the shop. There's a shop up in the corner. Click the shop. There's these awesome, badass Busch bomb t-shirts. I'm not wearing. I don't know why I'm pulling. If you're listening only, I'm like raising my t-shirt on right now. This is not a Busch bomb shirt, but buy you a Busch bomb t-shirt. Trust me, she'll like it too. It's the obvious thing to do, by the way. Which, by the way, another cheap plug. If you are buying Cubs t-shirts, whether it's a Busch bomb t-shirt or other t-shirts, check out Obvious Shirts. And while you're there, while you're making your purchase, go to the little codes. You know, when you go to check out the little code bar, On Tap Sportsnet, 10% off your next purchase. You're welcome. Don't ever say that we here at Cubs on Tap never gave you anything. We just gave you 10% off. 10% off at Obvious Shirts. So if you spend, I don't know, $100, that's $10 off. I just gave you $10. You're welcome. You're welcome. But anyways, Michael Busch, 30th home run of the year. Love to see it. Love to see it. I'm so glad that at the very least, that guy, he hit his 30th home run. There's a few other guys that have chances to hit 30 home runs this season on this team. Cough cough PCA. But you love to see it. You love to see that. Reese McGuire had a nice game. He had a double and a homer as well. He's quietly having a pretty good season. He's not having the Carson Kelly started off great. I wouldn't go that far with Reese McGuire, but in his role, the role that he was given at the beginning or whenever he was acquired by the Cubs, has done a pretty good job. I'll give him that. Is he the guy I want out there every single day? No. But for his role, he's done a very good job. I'll say that. But again, every pitcher who appeared in this game for the Cubs gave up a run. 8 home runs from this Cubs pitching staff given up in a 2-game span. From Friday to Saturday, 8 home runs at Great American Ballpark. You cannot do that. Cannot happen. I'll say it again. That place is a launching pad. Hell, they had the home run derby there a few years ago. Actually, it's been about 10 years ago. But yeah, not going to win many games. You're not going to win many series when you give up 8 home runs in a 2-game span. Not going to happen. And today, and it sounds like I'm repeating myself a lot because basically it's the same story every game. Cubs lose again. This time 1-0. Jameson Taillon today was excellent. Arguably his best start of this season so far. 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 4 strikeouts. Would not have guessed it. Honestly, and he's had some pretty good starts as of late. I would have guessed this would have been the game that he gave up, 3-4 home runs. At the rate that this series was going, I would have guessed that Jameson Taillon was going to give up 3-4 bombs. And this was going to be, the quote unquote off the rail start. And we were going to be talking about JMO giving up, who knows, 4, 5, 6 runs, but he didn't. He had the best start of his season so far. Carlos Santana, yay, he finally got his first hit as a Cub. But the offense was irrelevant. The offense was irrelevant. As Hank says right here, please God, no more Justin Turner and Carlos Santana games. Hank, I'm right there with you, man. I'm right there with you. I know. Here's the thing. And we can get into the conversation. There's a separate conversation as far as whether these two guys should even be on the roster. That is, whether I agree with either one of them being on the roster I don't. But one of these guys are going to be on the playoff roster, whether we like it or not. Again, I don't like it, but one of them are going to be on the roster. And it's got to be Justin Turner. You can say what you want about Carlos Santana. He got his first hit today. Yay. Whoop-de-doo. But it's like when I was listening to the radio broadcast today, Ron was talking about how, Santana is so good against lefties and blah, blah, blah. And he's been there and yada, yada. And I get that. And I understand there's an argument for that. Oh, but they've been there, done that. But I'm also of the type that you don't just flip it. If you think, and I'm not saying you do, Hank, I'm not saying any, and just about everybody here listening understands this, but if you think that this team or these players are just going to flip a switch come the end of this week and when October comes around and playoff games start, if you think that they're just going to, we're in the playoffs now, bing, we're going to start hitting the ball now, we're going to start playing good baseball, they've got another thing coming. But yeah, the offense was irrelevant this whole weekend. I'm going to be honest, I can't stand Cincinnati. I can't. And maybe it's one of those things where I live in Kentucky, there are just so many Cincinnati Reds fans, diehard Cincinnati Reds fans, and most of them are around my age, so most of them they haven't won anything. They really haven't. They say, "Oh, we won in 1990." Oh, I was born in 1990. I don't remember what I was doing in 1990. Neither do they. But, "Oh, well, I was born in the Big Red Machine." You don't remember the Big Red if you're what, 30, 38 or younger, you don't remember the Big Red Machine. You don't remember any of that. You don't. And if you say you do, you're lying. And so most of the Reds fans, they don't they've never won anything. They've been mediocre at best. Now, I'll grant them this. They've owned us in series I'd say the past 5 seasons. The Reds, I know this year they've won the overall series this season against the Cubs. I would say in the last 5 years, they probably own the better record against Chicago. Probably, yeah. But with that being said, I can't stand them. I really can't stand them. I can't stand their fan base. Can't stand the team. Can't stand the city. But I'll give it to them. They've owned us this year. They have. So yeah, Cubs swept in Cincinnati, and they moved to 88 and 68 on the season. They're still 3 games ahead of the Padres for that top wild card spot. But I mean, hey, there's 2 series left, and anything can happen. Don't let that Padres team get hot. They know they can. They've done it in the past. As for the Reds, here's where things get interesting. Here's where things get really interesting. With this win today, the Reds move to a tie with the Mets for that final wild card spot. But technically, they are ahead of the Mets due to the fact that the Reds own the tiebreaker between those 2 teams. So technically, the Reds right now have the final wild card spot if the season ended today, which means I believe they'd be playing the Dodgers. And I'm pretty sure the Reds swept the Dodgers in LA earlier this season. And I get it, the Dodgers are a different team than they were whenever they played the Reds, but still, they swept the Reds earlier this year. And after this loss on Sunday, here's another fun fact with the Cubs. The Cubs now, after this sweep, and this is what kind of bothers me about this team. This is what worries me a little bit about this team. The Cubs are 40 and 42 this year against teams that are above 500. So you could say, at least in my lifetime, I don't count 1990. I was 8 years old in 1998. And I do remember the home run race with Sosa and McGuire. I don't remember the playoff push. I know the Cubs made the playoffs, but I don't really remember anything about it. I know they lost to the Padres, but that's it. So I won't count that. We'll say 2003. 2003, 2007, 2008. 2003 was exciting. I mean, hell, they were one win away from the World Series. 2008 and 2007, 2007, 2008. 2008, they were stacked. 2007, they were pretty stacked too. And we were all pretty confident about all that as far as heading into the playoffs. 2015, they were hot. Didn't even expect that as far as how ahead of schedule that they were. 2016 speaks for itself. 17, 18, you still had those stacked rosters, and the teams were still good and performing well. I feel like this team, yeah, they had the hot first half offensively, but I think you could say that this team is the most – would you say this team is the most meh or mid playoff team with the Cubs in the last 20 years? You're 40 and 42 against teams above 500, which means you have a losing record against playoff teams right now. That's just something to think about. I don't know. It's I know it's not everything. I know things can change. You can beat the Mets coming up, which we'll talk about here in a minute. You can beat the Mets. You could sweep the Mets. That'd be awesome. And you can be above 500, but still, it's just something to I don't know. It's it just makes you worry a little bit. But the kicker for this series, I get it. The offense was still hungover from Wednesday, Thursday, whatever. And the Cubs could not avoid the long ball. Couldn't avoid the long ball. And again, like I said earlier, this time of the season, you're at crunch time, you're in playoff mode. You've got October coming right around the corner. You're not going to win many games if you can't avoid the long ball. As we all know, teams that pitch well and hit home runs, those are the teams that win playoff games. Teams that avoid home runs, those are the teams that win playoff games more times than not. And you can't win in Cincinnati. And Pat Hughes, I loved how Pat Hughes, I bet he said this 10 times to just today. As nice as he comes across and everything like that. He couldn't reiterate enough about the fact that you can't win in Cincinnati scoring just 7 runs in a 4-game series. I just said it over and over and over. And he's right. You're not going to win many games if you can't score more runs than 7 runs in a 4-game series against Cincinnati. Have to be better than that. Have to. I don't care if that team has played dead even with you or just above even. Better than you. Doesn't matter. They're the Reds, you're the Cubs. You're supposed to be better. You're supposed to win that series. I don't care if you're celebrating your playoff appearance. Yay, congratulations. I get it. It's like Joe Madden. Yeah, Joe Madden once said, what was it? Don't miss out on an opportunity to celebrate something. I get that. But celebrate it and move on. And it feels like that this team was just hungover. It was a 4-game hangover. It was a 4-day hangover is what it felt like. But at the end of the day, I'll say this about the Reds. And I said it a few days ago. I would rather play the Dodgers in the playoffs than the Cincinnati Reds. Maybe that's just dumb me talking. But right now, I don't care how hot the Dodgers are right now. Their bullpen's not the greatest. Their offense is what it is. And I get it. They have that stack rotation. There is just something about Cincinnati that I want no part of in the playoffs. And there's a chance they could see them in the playoffs. I want to say it would have to be in the NLCS. There's a chance that could happen. And I'll just say it right now. I would rather play the Dodgers than the Reds in the playoffs. So, yeah, the Cubs are going to have to wake up this week if they plan to win a single game in the playoffs. They are. And I get it. You made the playoffs and all that. But this week is important. Final week of the season. It's important. You can say whatever. The Reds could lose and blah, blah, or the Padres could lose and yada, yada. And, we could still get the top spot. I get that. But you can't go into the playoffs coming off a week, 2-week stretch of just playing mediocre / poor baseball and expect to just flip a switch and it's going to, things are different now. Not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, going to have to figure it out. Going to have to figure it out. With that being said, a few little notes. Just looking at the overall picture of this series and just things as far as players and stuff. There is one player, actually there's 2 players I have questions about, but there's one player, at least that played in this series, that I've wondered about, and that is where has Seiya Suzuki gone? You guys remember in the first half, do you remember in the first half of the season when we all were talking about, Seiya Suzuki's going to be a 40-homer guy? You remember that? We're sitting here going back and forth. There, him and PCA were going back and forth, hitting home runs. Like, oh my God, they're both going to get 40 easy. I was one of those people because it looked like it was just, you could pencil it in. You could bet on it. And it feels like since the second half, he has been, and I get it. There's other players that you could say that about. But Say is a guy, he's one of those guys that you depend on. You have to depend on in this lineup. He's a guy that has to be hitting the ball well. And I get it, you could say the same thing about, oh, Kyle Tucker hasn't been here and PCA's been quiet and this and that, and I get that. But Say is a guy that's going to have to figure it out. If things are going the way they are going, if the roster, let's just say this roster that played in Cincinnati this weekend, if that was the roster, let's say there wasn't a Kyle Tucker. Saya has to be a guy that has to get rolling, has to get hot. He has to. And since the All-Star break, he hasn't. Coming into today, before today's game, in 52 games, 176 at-bats. He's hitting 199 with a 600 OPS, 2 home runs, and 8 extra base hits, and just 14 RBIs. Not good. Not good. And again, I'll say it again. I get it. There are other people in this lineup you could point the finger at, but he's a guy, in my opinion, that he's a top of the order guy. You know, he's a middle of the lineup guy. He's one of the guys that, you know, you pencil. Hey, he's one of the guys that has to help get this team rolling. If this team's going to be rolling, he's got to be a guy that's got to be hitting. And he hasn't been hitting. He's got to figure that out. Has to. And just speaking of guys, and I just brought him up. Speaking of Tucker, is this Kyle Tucker thing becoming an issue? Are we concerned? Like, has this Kyle Tucker issue, has it become an issue? You know, he leaves the team after checking with Cubs trainers and all that kind of stuff. He leaves the team, goes to see his own personal trainer in Tampa. And if you watch the interviews with Craig, they're asking him every day about all that stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it seems like it's almost like he's a little frustrated about that issue. And in a way, it kind of almost seems like he doesn't seem to have a clue, because he's just like today, like this morning, he said, we've got to figure out if he's available this week or not. And it's kind of like, no shit, Sherlock. It's the last week of the season. But I don't know. It feels like one of those things that, I don't want to say maybe blindsided Craig, but I don't know. It just feels like, hey, you talk to the Cubs training staffs. It's just crazy that this went from, oh, Kyle Tucker, you know, he'll miss a few games against Washington, but we expect him back at the end of the series. And at the very latest, you know, he'll play in the Braves series. Definitely play in the Braves series. And it's been what? At least 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Something that just started out as a minor calf issue. And I don't know. It's funny. It's odd that it's really odd that you just get up and go to Tampa to see your own personal trainer about this issue. I don't know. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe we're looking too far into it. Maybe not. But I look at it this way. If Tucker is not available, then once he's available, recall Owen Casey. Put Owen Casey back on the roster. Put him back in the lineup. But I'll just say this. This issue with Kyle Tucker, if it is an issue, it will be a major talking point this offseason if he doesn't play anymore this season, then it'll definitely be a major issue. Because I'll be honest, and it's like me and Rich talked about a few weeks ago. I feel like this whole contract I feel like the whole contract situation, the whole potential of the end of 2026 being a lockout and a salary cap possibly coming in. I think all this is tied together. I really do. Call me a conspiratist. Call me somebody that's just talking out of his ass, whatever you want to say. I don't care. I honestly think all this is connected. I really do. But this will be a major talking point this offseason. Like I said, if A, he doesn't play anymore this season, or B, if he does play, but he does not produce in the playoffs. You can say whatever you want. Oh, well, he's been out for 2 or 3 weeks, blah, blah, blah. If he's in If he's on the playoff roster and he's playing in the games, I do not want to hear. Nobody wants to hear, "Oh, well, he's been dealing with an injury." Because we can say the same thing, in August when he was dealing with his hand injury or whatever it was? If he's healthy enough to be in the lineup, I don't wanna hear about anything else. I don't. I don't wanna hear about game timing and getting back in the groove of all that. I don't wanna hear it. And I don't think Cubs are gonna wanna hear it this offseason either, or the playoff series or whatever. So this issue, if it is an issue, will be a major talking point this offseason. Like I said, if he doesn't play anymore this season, obviously, that would be nuts, wouldn't it? Would it not? He just stay in Tampa? Just stay in Tampa this week? He's not even there with the team when they clinch the playoffs, and I get it, he's dealing with his injury, but that would be nuts, would it not? And like I said, if he does play, but does not produce in the playoffs. But hey, if he does produce in the playoffs, then he shuts everybody up. He shuts me and everybody else up that's been questioning about this. But yeah, it just feels like this is it's becoming an issue. And we're at a point in this season, the final week, the final, 6 games? This is the last 6 games of the season, the final 6 games of the season. And no sign of Kyle Tucker. Yes, it is an issue in my opinion. This is not good. Not good. But anyways, I'm tired of Cincinnati. I don't want to see them anymore. I repeat, I do not want to see them in the playoffs. Period. Don't want to. Don't want anything to do with them. So yeah, there's that. But anyways, let's look ahead. Looking ahead. The Cubs head back home. Off day tomorrow, and then they start a 3-game series with the Mets beginning on Tuesday, which I will be at that. I will be there on Tuesday. I believe Cade Horton versus David Peterson. Cade Horton, as we all obviously know, in National League Rookie of the Year frontrunner, coming off a win against the Pirates. I look at it this way: Horton's going to be Horton. It probably won't be a long outing. I think we all know that. I think he's going to be definitely going to be on a pitch limit. Yeah, it'd be nice to get that top wild card spot, but at this point in the season, you got to save Cade Horton. You've got to save Cade Horton. Obviously, let him pitch tonight, get his work in, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, you're not getting an 80. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think you're getting an 80-plus pitch performance from Cade Horton tomorrow. I just don't think so. Because I believe this is the final outing. This is the final appearance. Because let's all be honest, Cade Horton should be your game 1 starter for the playoffs. So if that's the case, which it should be the case, tomorrow's Cade Horton's final appearance of the regular season. It's probably not going to be a long one, but that's okay because we need him for game 1 of the playoffs. But with that being said, the offense needs to wake up. Let's cure this hangover that we've had for 4 days. Congratulations, you made the playoffs. That's great. Yay. But now we need to be in playoff mode. You don't see, the Brewers, they won their division today, blah, blah, blah. They won the division today. Yay, hooray. The Dodgers, they clinched the playoffs. You don't see them or the Phillies. Yeah, the Phillies celebrating winning their division, but they're all in playoff mode now. Cool, we're in the playoffs. We celebrated. Great. We moved on. Now we're in the playoff mode. We still have work to do. We can't be blowing our load just yet. Can't happen. We're just getting started, baby. So, yeah. We still have work to do, and we have to be getting into playoff mode starting Tuesday. We need to start looking like a playoff team. And it starts with this offense because, like I said, you know what Cade's going to do? Cade's going to be Cade. Cade's going to deal. We know it. But it starts with the offense. It does. And let's look at it. The Mets are being the Mets right now. I believe the Mets lost today. Oh, yeah, the Mets lost today. And with that Reds win, they're tied. The Mets are Metsing right now. So let's take advantage of it. Let's beat the little redheaded stepchild of New York and the Mets, and let's ruin their chances. Let's give Frank the Tank, and I'll be honest, I kind of like watching his videos, but let's give Frank the Tank another epic video to record, and let's beat the snot out of them, ruin their chances, and let's just build momentum for not only this week, but then for the playoffs. Period. That's all that's all that needs to be said. And I agree, Hank. Yeah, Horton has to start game one, right? There's no way Council starts anyone else, right? I agree, Hank. Yeah. I don't think there's any other way. You look at, I mean, because you're three guys. I'm sure we can all agree. Your three guys in some order is Cade Horton, Matthew Boyd, Shota Imanaga. You can say, oh, well, why not do left, right, left? I don't care. I think you go for the game one win and you go with your best pitcher in Cade Horton out of those three. You could say, oh, well, Cade, Cade's only thrown half the season. I don't care. He's put up Jake Arrieta type numbers from 2015 second half. He has. I'm not saying that Cade Horton is Jake Arrieta. I'm not saying that at all, but he's your best pitcher right now. And you can say, oh, well, experience and yada, yada, yada. Well, Shota doesn't have that much experience. He's pitched in Tokyo, and I'm sure he's pitched in playoff games in Japan. Matthew Boyd made an appearance with Cleveland last year from the bullpen, but that's really it. There's not really. Jameson which Jameson's not going to be your top three. I want to say he made an appearance with New York, but it's Cade Horton. It's got to be Cade Horton. There's no way around it. Matthew Boyd's been shelled a lot. I want to say in his last 10 starts. Shota lately has been he's been giving up the long ball lately. He's been having a few of those outings where he has a couple innings where he gives up that 2-3 spot. And in the playoffs, that's not going to cut it. It's not. You could say whatever well, he only gave up this. He only gave up 3 runs or it doesn't matter. All it takes in the playoffs is that one bad inning. That's all it takes. And you guys know that. So, yeah, I agree, Hank. Horton has to start game one. And there's no way that Council can start anyone else. But at the same time, with some of his post game comments and answers and stuff, I'm prepared to not be surprised. I'll just say that. But I mean, surely to God, Cade Horton is your number one guy. Anyways, final thoughts for this episode. Yeah, final week of the season. It's like I said with Rich last week. It's like I said the week before. If you have an opportunity to go to the ballpark, get out there. I'll be honest, I had a chance to go to Cincinnati this weekend and I didn't. I'm glad I didn't because it was going to be a 3-hour drive home tonight that I was just going to be in a bad mood. But if you have a chance to get to the ballpark, go. Because again, this may be your last week. And if you're not a season ticket holder at Chicago, good luck getting a playoff ticket. I'll actually be there on Tuesday. Fun fact, this is mine and my wife's anniversary week, so we are going to Chicago. And we're hitting the game up Tuesday. Hopefully Cade Horton comes out and does Cade Horton things, and hopefully the offense decides to wake up. And hey, surely maybe we'll hear something about Kyle Tucker. Right? I mean, have to. I would expect to hear something at the latest Tuesday morning. But, you never know. But yeah, other than that, just if you got a chance to get out of the ballpark, go. But again, about to be exciting times in baseball because October's the best time of the year for baseball. It is. I mean, opening day is awesome. It's almost like it comes in phases. Opening day is awesome. I love the All-Star break. Love both of those things, but nothing beats October. Nothing beats October baseball. So, yeah. Hopefully good things happen this week And hey, maybe this team gets hot. Maybe this team gets hot this week. Maybe that's what I said earlier this week. That's what I said on Saturday. Maybe they're just maybe the Cubs are just breaking themselves right down. They're breaking themselves down so bad right now to help build up their epic comeback, to build up a hot streak of hot streaks. Maybe that's what this is. I don't know. I was just spitballing last night. And that's all I could think of. That's all I could come up with. That's the only thing. So who knows? Maybe we have an epic, just epic hot streak in front of us. But anyways, what's on tap? Not only do we do Cub stuff here, which by the way, if you look on, I forgot to. My bad, guys. Hang on just a second here. Whoops. I forgot to put the little scrolly thing at the bottom. Not good. Not good. Anyways, not only do we do Cubs on tap, but we also do Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, and even the White Sox. We follow them all. Hey, the Bears won today. Congratulations. You beat the piss out of the Cowboys. The best place to get your Bears news is Bears on tap. I know last week somebody asked, well, where's Ron been? Where's Ron been? Ron's got a full plate, but occasionally you can catch him. Bears on tap. I know him and the guys over there would love for you to join their show and drop a comment. Say hey. But those are the best places to get all that news is right here at On Tap Sports. Again, if you are shopping on obvious shirts, On Tap Sports, code On Tap Sports, 10% off. You're welcome. It's 10% off. We are giving you 10% just for typing the words in. That's it. But yeah, I believe that's it for tonight. Real quick, because there's only one way to close this episode. I get it. The Reds, F the Reds. But hey, St. Louis, you guys are 19 games back with a 76-80 record. We'll see you guys next weekend to finish things off, to put you guys out of your misery. And it's just another reason why at the end of this year and for the whole offseason, we're going to say F the Cardinals and let's go Mets. Holy crap. I mean, let's go Cubs. Whoa.